Let's take a trip down memory lane. The year is 2002. We're in Pleasantville, New York. I'm a junior in high school, and I got the lead role in the spring musical. I was so excited. This is what I always wanted ever since I was really young. I had been going to see the shows at Pleasantville High School, including when I was 7 years old. I saw West Side Story, and when I saw what they were doing on that stage and the story was coming to life, I said, I want to do that. So I was beside myself. I got to play Harold Hill, and if you don't know the musical, he is the engine of the musical, much like Mama Rose in Gypsy or Hamlet or King Lear. And it was a role that fit me very well. I would later figure out it's because I was playing somebody who's trying to keep up the appearance of keeping everything together. Now, it's the week of the show. We're rehearsing, and I'm sweating a lot. They have to give me handkerchiefs in my costume so I could make it part of the character to be dabbing myself. I am very tense. My muscles are tense. I'm making facial expressions that are very tense to show what the character is feeling. I have very shallow breath. It's hard for me to breathe fully. I remember an alum came back, and that was the advice he said. He said, Brian, breathe. But I couldn't take full breaths. And I ended up getting sick right before the first dress rehearsal. I had to miss that. My understudy went on. But I said, I'm not missing the first weekend of shows, so I went on. I was really sick, and somehow adrenaline just powered me through that show. And also the assistant directors would be backstage, and they would have, all my meds, throat sprays, and tissues, and things like that. And I would quickly do that, dab all the sweat, do my costume change, and then get right back out on stage. Now, I'm finally realizing, was I in fight or flight that entire time? That's what we're going to explore today. Hi, I'm Brian Zane. Welcome to The Actor's Nervous System, a podcast about acting, embodiment, and the nervous system. Welcome to episode 2, Fight, Flight, or Act. What is the nervous system? Well, according to the Cleveland Clinic, the nervous system is the body's command center. It consists of this brain, the spinal cord, and our nerves, and it sends signals between the body and the brain. The nervous system regulates our movement, our breath, our emotion, our stress response, our digestion, our sleep, all these automatic things that happen. That's directed by our nervous system. Think of it almost like, remember in the Truman Show, the director Christof, played by Ed Harris? That's the nervous system. It's directing everything to happen. So the nervous system regulates all these things: breath, movement, emotion, memory, attention, stress response. So acting is really happening within that system, within the nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system, which is part of all these automatic things that happen, consists of the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, the sympathetic nervous system is the system that's mobilized when we're in what's called the fight or flight response. It's also called the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. Fawning as in trying to please someone. And I'm sure we have a lot of actors here who do that a lot, or people pleasers. When you're in the fight and flight response, your heart rate goes up. Your breath becomes shallow. Your pupils dilate. You have a glucose release. So you're expending a lot of energy. Your digestion stops. Your immune system stops and is suppressed. Because the nervous system is perceiving some kind of threat, and including a social threat. And what's more of a social threat than performing, than being on stage and making a fool out of yourself? On the other side, so that's the sympathetic nervous system, we have the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's the nervous system of regulation, otherwise known as rest and digest, or rest, digest, and restore. And when we're in the parasympathetic, we can breathe deeply. Our heart rate goes down. Digestion is activated. You might feel tears rolling down your cheeks, which is good for actors. That means emotions are easily accessible. So why does this matter for actors? Well, if the body is in this stress response or this survival mode, the body is tense. We have breath restriction. We have emotional forcing, overthinking, fatigue. So the question is, how do we play truthfully if our body is in survival mode? What if actors need to make sure that our nervous systems are regulated first? All right, I'm going to talk about my story for a little bit. So I always had a sensitive nervous system. When I was a baby, my mom had to cut off all of my tags. Textures have always bothered me. Sounds have bothered me. If there was styrofoam on Christmas, it would physically hurt me. And when I was young, I had adolescent epilepsy. So that's a nervous system disorder. And I had seizures, and I'm not sure if that made me more sensitive or I was more sensitive, and that's why I had it. But that was a big part of me, and it is a big part of me. And so I was in constant search of regulation since I had such a sensitive nervous system. So I would find ways to ease myself. Reading books. I fell in love with books when I was really young. Movies, TV, video games. Moving my body in some way. Being with friends, music. And then finally I found acting. Acting was something that forced me to be present with other people. And it forced me to get out of my head and be in the moment. Sometimes in the best circumstances, but it would also dysregulate me as well. There would be times where I felt like I was forcing, I felt like I was tense, I felt like I was scared because of that social survival mode I was talking about before. So even plays like The Music Man, there were moments of ease. I mean, it was a great role for me, and there were moments where I could feel the character just flowing through me, and I could feel all the circumstances just flowing through me. But there were other points where I was sweating bullets, where I felt tense and uneasy, and I felt in that fight or flight response. It's interesting that something can activate and regulate you at the same time. How can they both exist? So, if a dysregulated actor experiences tension, breath restriction, emotional forcing, overthinking, fatigue, illness, what does a regulated actor experience? Not perfection, not constant relaxation, but greater availability. Availability. A regulated actor can listen more deeply, can respond instead of force. They can breathe more fully, stay connected to their scene partner. Trust the circumstances, allow emotion to arise instead of trying to manufacture it or grab onto the emotion. This is one of the things that struck me when I first encountered Demidov work. The goal wasn't to perform emotion. The goal was to create the conditions where emotion could emerge naturally, which raises a question. Why isn't nervous system regulation taught from the beginning? From the first rehearsal, from the first audition, the first self-tape, the first line learning session? Well, in Demidov work, it is. And discovering that changed everything for me. So let's flash back again to 2002, to The Music Man. The director, Doc, he was a legend. This was actually his last year, so I would be his last lead, which was very exciting, and it was an honor. He was the choral director, the band director, and the director of theater for over 30 years. So he had this pre-show ritual called Psych. And what it was is the whole cast and a lot of the crew would all meet in the green room, and we would lie down, they would turn off the lights. And Doc would just narrate almost like a guided meditation to just calm us all down. And it wasn't just a guided meditation. We would also travel back through time. We would travel through space. And in this case, to the early 1900s, to Rock Island, Iowa. And whenever we did Psych, all of a sudden, I just felt calm. I knew there was an audience. I knew we were going to start the show, but I felt calm. I felt free. I felt available. I felt creative. And let me ask you now, why did that work? Here's a hint. At what point during the day are we in our most creative state? When we're dreaming. All right, before we end today's episode, one of my goals is always to leave you with some kind of tangible activity that you can use to help regulate your nervous system in some way. So this is called Losing the Body. This is something that was created by Nikolai Demidov and taught to me by Andrei Malayev-Babel. And I use it before I act. And I would love to have you try it with me. All right, so wherever you are, hopefully you're not driving. If you are, just pull over, follow this. Just sit in your chair. And are you really sitting? Is every part of you sitting? Make sure your shoulders are sitting. Your back is sitting. Every part of you is actually sitting. And you're not somewhere else. Allow the breath to get nice and deep into your belly. And don't look at a fixed place, but just allow your eyes freedom to look around. Allow yourself freedom if you need to fidget or scratch or do anything. Just allow yourself that luxury. And now as you breathe out, you feel the protective membrane of your eye that's always guarding. You feel it completely melt away. And just let it melt away. So there is nothing between your soul and your eye. And as you look around, your eye feels more innocent. Almost like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And keep breathing. And on your next breath, when you breathe out, you notice that the fingers on your right hand are slowly dissipating away. Don't fight it, don't try to control it, just allow it to happen. And now your fingers are gone. You can't feel them at all. And suddenly you notice on your next breath that your hand, from your wrist all the way down to your fingers, is also disappearing. Almost like you're taking off a glove on your right hand. But when you take it off, nothing is there. And just allow that. And allow breathing. Good. And now you feel all the way up to your elbow. It's like you're taking off a sleeve. And from your elbow down to your wrist, you feel it completely disappear. And there's nothing there. And as you breathe out, from your shoulder down to your elbow, it falls away. It's gone. And suddenly you notice your entire right arm, your right hand, your fingers are completely gone. You feel nothing there. And as you breathe, you feel it infecting your left fingers and your left hand and your left arm and elbow and left shoulder until, same thing, your left arm is completely gone. And now it's infecting your feet, your right foot, your left foot, gone. Your right leg up to your knee, gone. Your right thigh, gone. Left leg, gone. And now all of your legs are completely gone. Goes up to your torso, your stomach, your back, completely release. All the way up to your shoulders, gone. Your neck, your jaw. It's almost as if there's just a stick holding you up, and with your two eyes. You are completely released. All of your muscles are gone. And take a deep breath out. That's losing the body. Try doing that the next time before you act, and let me know how it goes. Okay, everyone, so today we talked about the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Remember, sympathetic is mobilization, fight or flight. Parasympathetic is regulation and rest and digest. We talked about how acting needs to use the nervous system. And if we are regulated, we are more available. So again, I invite you to try this activity, to try to regulate your nervous system in some way before you act next time. And that's it for episode 2. Thanks, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, and share with an actor, teacher, theater artist, or anyone interested in embodied performance. I've been getting a lot of great responses. Keep them coming. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, we're at The Actors Nervous System on Instagram. You could email us at theactorsnervoussystempodcast@gmail.com. And that's it. I'm Brian Zane. Until next time, remember, you are enough.